This stuff here, Yerushalmi Shabbos, in the article Oz V'Har edition, we're on the top of Lamed Aleph, of Yitzhak Gruba in the first line. And that in the Vilna is a little bit hard to find. It's on Chav Daled Amud Aleph, about halfway down the page. I'll count lines. 18 lines down. Rabbi Yitzhak Gruba. Interesting. Only you find in the arts in the Yerushalmi, Rabbi Yitzhak Gruba. I'm not find in the not find in the Yerushalmi Rabbi Chia Ruba. Here find Rabbi Yitzchak Ruba. And the Bavli and Daf Mehmah Beis says on Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Ivdime. So I'm not sure why it's called Ruba. Usually it's the preserved Rabbi Chia. I don't know. I'm not sure anybody speaks about it. Anyway, be that as it may, Yitzchak Ruba Mischei im Rebbe. He went into bathe with Rebbe, and of course he's the first generation Amoraim, last generation Atoraim. So then it makes sense to say that he was called Ruba in that generation. But again, as I say, usually you find it silly with Rabbi Chia. So the Korban explains, can you put a container of oil into a circle, which is warm water, they have shira shemen, in order to make the oil lukewarm, to anoint yourself from a korban chitza. The circle, he says, is like a pool in the ground, in which the water enters and gathers. Armalei said, Have go natla. He says, put the water into a container. He nases kikli sheni, and that would become like a kli sheni, as Korban Eda explains. She told mine took a kli acher. Take the water inside another keli. Have the kli sheni. We take it to pachshel shemen. Why the kli sheni ain't mavasha? The eagle chashu kli rishon shenirtuchu. So he says the eagle is kli rishon, which is boiled. And even though it's no longer on the fire, and they extinguished fire from before Shabbos, it's still can be bashal, and therefore you should put the water into a klisheni and put the oil container into that klisheni. Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi B'Shem Rabbi Shimon Levi said, "Sholim hilchos hamerchatz beis hamerchatz, hilchos beis hakisei bebeis hakisei." So they were in the beis hamerchatz. They were presumably they were undressed, but nevertheless, if it's a halacha which has to do with the beis hamerchatz, then you can ask in the beis hamerchatz. And if it's a halacha similarly has to do with the beis hakisei with going to the bathroom, so you can ask it in the beis hakisei. Like the following case. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar al Mischei Rameir. Shimon ben Elazar went to bathe Rameir. Amalei said, "Mao lekanech is one allowed to dry oneself with a sheath of some sort?" Amalei said, "Aser." He said it's forbidden. As Rameir shita. Even though we were not using towels and even bring them home before Rameir, I would say how it was aser. Maladiach, you're allowed to rinse the ground. Also, it says also because actually gumas, you might come to smooth out the dirt on the ground. For low chain Shmuel, well, ask him, okay, fine, but low chain Shmuel Shmuel Rav, didn't Shmuel ask Rav Malanos Amen Mamakam Matunaf? They asked him, what are you allowed to answer Amen in the discussing place? Vuamar Osir. He said it's also to answer Amen. For us to so it's also me to tell you that it's also. So how can you discuss Torah in a base of Mechutz? Ashker Tanoi Tani. So we found the brisa which teaches us that going with the here's the Shas here takes the word ein sholim hilchos Mechutz hilchos akisa beis akisa. That wasn't halacha of beis Mechutz beis akisa. Evidently, whether the answer amen. I mean, they were saying beis Mechutz. It was relevant, but evidently it was not directly relevant. So therefore, he said it's also. And but the other bride says if it's directly relevant to the process of the merchats, the process of the Beis Hakisei, so it's permissible to ask. Okay, our Mishnah is spoken about Chamin, the Chamei Tveria if they heat up in biyontif. Chamin shulchan biyontif, they're like chamin shulchan biyontif. So chamin shulchan biyontif. So hot water heat up on yontif. V'chein chamin shulchan erev Shabbos to Shabbos. So chamin which heat up from erev Shabbos to Shabbos. Rabbi Shmuel and Machlekes, what can you do with them? Chadamar once said, "Marcus ben panav the other bragov. All you can do is wash your face, your hands, and your legs." Chadamar the other one said, "Marcus ben kogu for evarim evarim. You can do your entire body limb by limb, not the entire body at once." Loidi manamadam. We don't know who said what. The Tiny Shmuel says Shmuel said, "Marcus ben panav Yadav Raglov." He said explicitly, Tiny Shmuel. Tiny Shami sometimes means the brisa, sometimes means a statement made by an Amora. So whichever one. But Shmuel's either quoting a brisa or saying himself. Marcus ben panav the other raga. He can rinse his um, uh, face, hands, and legs. Have he robbed Umar Marcus ben kuva evarim. So Rab must be the one who said that you can do evarim. You can do the entire body limb by limb. Chad Chad philosopher Bar Kapara. A certain philosopher asked Bar Kapara the following question. And Avle asked the same question. Avishal Levi Suisa. Not sure why it was called Levi Suisa. Maybe there's a place called Suisa that they both say that's his name here. Mutter Lishtos. So they're talking about chamin, which can get heat up on yontif, and it's we say it's mutter to drink and also to wash. So the question is, why the difference? Why is it mutter to drink and also to wash? So Amar Lay, so evidently either Bar Kapar answered Philosophits and Levi Suisa, which is interesting as we're about to say, answered the Avlate. Im tira soris mechabe see a person who is a soris, he's not able to have intimate relations. With, but you see a soris mechabe who's embracing your wife. Shema in oralacha, is it not bad? Don't you feel bad? Even though you know they can't do anything, so to speak. But doesn't make you feel bad? I'm like in. Said yes. I'm like makiu laklum. Is he hurting you at all? Is it bothering you? Is he causing you any loss? You can't. Nothing can come of it anyway. Yeah, I feel bad because it's pizza sticks. Shouldn't do things when inappropriate behavior. He said, "Oh, here it's the same thing, right?" The Kormei says, "Gabi chitza, chashish chachamim shagilat chameim, after shalol tzar klal." They were concerned that if we allow you to heat up water for washing, you're going to come to do things, heat up water for no purpose whatsoever. But for drinking, they're not choshish davar mu'atu because it's a small amount. A small amount. Also, you need it for eating. Shein rechitza, opposed to rechitza, which is not necessary. So Kemich once. I assume that it wasn't the exact same story by both. So I guess it's a question whether the philosophers Shal Kapar Avle Shalu Levi Suisa. I'm not sure, but in any because I don't think the discussion went down twice. But in any event, wherever it was, Kemich once the philosophers or Avle left. Amar Tamid said either to Bar Kapar or to Levi Suisa. Rabbi this person you pushed off with a straw. In other words, you gave him an answer which was a light answer, not based in sources. What's the real answer? Lanamata Meshiv. Amar Levin said, "Look for an I'll tell you." It says, "Ochel nefesh is permissible." As it says, back then, it was not everybody had to wash every day. Only pampered people. For the pun of Yanav Ragla was Shavachal Nefesh. So it has to be something which is Shavachal Nefesh, and Ochel Nefesh is defined as something which is Shavachal Nefesh. Shavachal Nefesh is defined as something which everybody has to do, not just pampered people, and everybody washes pun of Yanav Ragla. Not everybody washes their entire body. Okay, so he said in our Mishnah, Moya Hargoruf, Shaisim and Shabbos. If you have an urn which is from which the coals are removed, you can drink it on Shabbos. I'm in a Goruf low. So if it's not Goruf, it's not permissible uh, to to use the hot water from the urn. Um, uh, uh, why? I'm Rabbi Shane. The coals are outside the urn anyway. So what's the issue? It's not like an oven where the coals are inside the oven. The food. I'm Rabbi Shane. Nogos begufo. Yeah, this is the coals still touch the body of the urn. Even there is no that it's the same thing as being inside the oven because they touch the body of the urn on the outside. He says that uh, the, uh, the place where uh, the place where the coals are is perforated in order for the air to get in. So therefore, um, it gets hotter, and therefore it gets hotter because of the ventilation. So therefore, uh, the um, uh, the 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 coal is going to burn on Shabbos more. So again, it looks more like cooking according to both cases. As Moshe points out, since the coals touch the urn, therefore second Shabbat Moshe shechomim rubehu v'scham yamayim ap Shabbos. Water gets hot even on Shabbos. And the second case again because the ventilation gets hot on the Shabbos, so therefore it's much more mechzik and mabasho than in the oven. I shouldn't say much more. It's mechzik and mabasho, and that's why you have to, even though the coals are not touching directly the water, obviously on the inside, but it's mechzik and mabasho enough that therefore it has to be guarded for cotton from before Shabbos. Not Kotum. Sorry, has to be Goro from before Shabbos. Amrai Beiser Bun, interesting novel shot. They should also plucking, because the urn is made up of segments. Is afraid, and these segments evidently are connected with some thinner or lighter metal like lead or tin, and that which is possible that it can melt. I guess it could solder. And he's afraid that it's going to get too hot and dissolve the connection. For most of mine, so add water on Shabbos, which if there are coals in there, it's going to get cooked. So therefore, he has to remove the coals from before Shabbos. Antichi, alpha pishagrufa ain't stressing manner. So we said the antichi, which is has the coals on the bottom, is even though it's grufa, even though it's you remove the coals, you still can't drink from it on Shabbos. They should because because evidently the walls get very hot. The way the carbon egg explains it, that it's the coals are at the bottom, and somehow the in the middle, and somehow where the heat radiates out from them to the walls. I'm not sure exactly what the scenario is, but somehow it's constructed in a way that even though the coals on the bottom somehow heat up the walls. I guess coals on the side, some of they don't heat up the walls so much. Coals on the bottom heat up the walls more. In any event, he heats it up to a much higher degree. Rabbi the Kesar and Rav Huna B'Shem Rav said, it's a grufa upesucha mutar. If you left it open, so then uh, then it's not going to get as even though the heat radiates, it's not going to get as hot, and then you can drink water from it on Shabbos. Okay, halal doubt. Mechem shepino. If you have a urn of hot water which you remove from the water, lo yitain l'tochel mayim tzayim mishush yechamu. You shouldn't put cold water into the urn on Shabbos in order that it should get hot. I'm listening to get very hot, as we shall see. I'm listening to tocho, but you can put into water, utocha kos, or into a cup water. Today we should have to make them warm, not hot. And we're going to discuss this. Says Gemara, Rabbi Bar Breder, Rabbi Chia Barba, Chia B'Shem Rabbi Yechanan. He said in the name Rabbi Yochanan, Lo shon tocha kos. In the Sefer, take out the words letocho, the word letocho. You can't put in the mecham ever. Not even the lav shira. So letocho lo, or lo shon tocha kos letocho lo. So I said kushi kind of bar. I asked this question from Rabbi Bar. Lo tan Rabbi Yochanan Sefer. Yochanan doesn't have the mecham in the Sefer. So that's the case. What's the generation of the Sefer? Right? And this religion said you can't put the word into the meicham, and the Savior said you can't put word into the meicham, right? So just don't say you can't put water into the meicham. Lotani Sefer, Lotani a ratio Rishul Sheyichamu doesn't say in the ratio that only is a problem of Rishul Sheyichamu. Halav Shir Lo to make lukewarm is not a problem. So what are you talking about? How can it possibly be that that you taking out of the sefer, then it's not true. There's no difference in the chalachim lafshir. Both it's also no matter what. And kos, of course, it's mutter. So what? The Mishnah doesn't seem to make any sense if you take out the word, or be let's say it's superfluous if you take out the word lutocho. Sounds like the whole point of the Mishnah is to say the sefer are more makel than the ratio, and it's possible to do makel something which you wouldn't be able to makel in the ratio. So the Gemara says. Asrei Bar Kahana, Rav said, no, there is the difference in duration. The Sefer is Imchaman Asa or Rav Shem Mutter. Now that seems to be exactly what it says in the Mishnah, and doesn't seem to be a chiddush. So it's interesting. The Yerushalmi Shabbos brings down a gersa from the Swedish Yerushalmi, which is instead of L'chamaman Aser, it's the Chosman Aser. And Chosman is the same thing as the Tzarif. So that way, that would be the exact same thing as Rav says in the Bavli. Daf Memav on base. That the Tzarif is also. That was if you're doing in order to forge the Keli, that it should be stronger because putting cold water, half a lot of water makes it stronger. So then it's also. So Chosman is also. Afshirin is mutter. To warm it up is mutter. So but it's a little bit difficult then because. So what about the middle stage, the Chamamon? Is that also a mutter? But in the Bavli, the Lashon is Amrav Loshan and Lav Shir Avlet Sarif Aser. So evidently that it's understood that the Chamon is Aser, Lav Shir is Mutter, and you should know that even if you put in a lot of water, it's not going to be hot, but you're doing the Chosmon, Litzarif, then that's Aser as well. That has to be the shot. Okay. Tani, we learned Nosin Chamin Litoch Tzonen, you can put hot water into cold water, because that's all gavar, and the cold water is going to make it cooler. Whatever's on the bottom because it's the primary property of the mixture. You can't put hot water into cold water because it's going to heat up the cold water. It's like cooking it. Basil says, you put cold into hot and hot into cold. Now, mutter. When it's true, because in the cup, and it's a cliche. Ava bambati, but in a bathtub, chamilito, in other words, in the kli rishon, chamilito tzonein is mutter, chamin into tzonein is mutter, because that's all governor. So into chamin also again, because that's all governor, kli rishon, of course, you can't do that because it is like cooking. The Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon Matir. Moshe both put in Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. Should be and Asir Rabbi Shimon ben. They take the word Elazar here. Ben Menasya and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. This so the Karma explains. So Shimon Menasya swear Avagav Tato Gavar. In the Tato Gavar came Sheichel Bashel Shari. Since it can't cook, the cliche, it's mutter. Rav the mate avitain son toch mecham, and the Rav is permits to put cold into hot, even into the mecham. The dami lambati, which is similar to bati, which would be a klirishon. They have shiran. It's to be mavshir. Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. That's Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, and the Marek says that this is also Rabbi Yochanan ben. The Rav who says it's mutter is Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. Rabbi Yochanan who answers it's like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, and that's the next Gemara. Do we have Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya here? Yeah, of course. According to the way we just changed the gears, we have Shem Menasya. Shem Menasya Matir. Okay. So Rav is like Shem ben Menasya. Rabbi Yochanan is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Um, and the Yerushalmi Pshuta makes an important cursor change. The next line, name is the Yerushalmi. It should be Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Oser, not Omer. Oser. He asks. He asks in the Klisheni. So that is like Rabbi Yochanan said that you can't even put in Mayim Tzonim and Mayim Chamim in a Klisheni. Okay. Now, a new thing. A person can fill up a pitcher full of water, put it opposite a bonfire. Not should become hot. But to that the that should be less cold. Its cold should be diminished. A person should go down into cold water in Toivel and come up and warm himself up opposite a bonfire. So Yosim Meir says right. You're not going to do it in a way which actually it's hot. It's water hot. It's boiling, right? So Matam Rabbanan. Why is the why Rabbanan Asad? Yeva Kai Demar Rabbi Zira B'Shem Rabbi Yudah. We said before in Halacha Aleph, like Rabbi Zira said, name Rabbi Yudah Mutav Shir Makom Sheyad Sholetes. You're allowed to warm something up, a place for Yad Sholetes, where the hand can stay in that place. You can't where the hand cannot be maintained in that location. So it's a special gzera that if the heat source is that hot, like a bonfire, which is more than in a yad sholetes, obviously you can't. According to this Gemara, you can't warm. According to Meir, you can't. According to Chachamim, sorry, you can't warm yourself up in that location. So. Even place where the hand is not showing. Ad echon. So we're going to go like the Pnei Moshe. This is a kula by Klisheni. And this is actually a thing which brought down the poskim. By Klisheni, even Makom Sheni Yad Sholetes, it's mutter. But to what extent? Rabbi Yehuda Bar Pazi, Rabbi Simon Shem, Rabbi Yosef ben Chaya said, "Actually, you're nice in yodo tochavi nichves." If you put your hand in and it gets burnt, yeah, nichves bo, then even Klisheni is also okay. And of course, this even though we only mentioned Klisheni in the next line, evidently this sugya already began with this question on Echon, with this discussion of Klisheni. Hakol make Klisheni shemuter. Everybody conclude it says Klisheni that's mutter, as long as it ain't yad nichves bo, right? Ma ben kli rishon, ma ben kli sheni. What's the machine? Kli rishon, kli sheni. Rabbi Yosef said, "Kan hayad sholetes." The v'kan ein hayad sholetes. Normally, kli sheni yad sholetes, and kli rishon ein hayad sholetes. Rabbi Yosef said, "Kan ein hayad sholetes." They're both ein hayad sholetes, but they made the difference, even if it's off the fire. Also, they made it the chumrah by kli rishon that it should be even it's on the fire. If it's any yad sholetes, and can't go there. It's also to put cold water in there. They didn't make that same rachah by kli sheni. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, my mother said, "Hain pincha da reiza," the a container of rice or of a Messiah Abba. It's a rye for my father, right, Rabbi Yoina. I in Pincha de Grisa and a container of uh, uh, of legumes. Misale, I think they're greasy my legumes. No, I had a funny feeling I was wrong. They're like a piece of cereal, hot cereal type of thing, kernels of grain. Misale Abba. That maftin minasar lasar. You move them from place to place. And still it's still hot. So if it's the same, you put them rishon, it's hot. Klisheni, it's hot. What's the difference? It must be that the difference is harchaka. They're both hot, but it's not on the fire. It's not going to cook. But they made archaka for Kli Rishon. They didn't make archaka for Kli Sheni, despite the similarity in temperature. I'm not sure if the Yerushalmi comes out the difference between the walls of Kli Sheni being hot, cold, or not. But no, the article points out wouldn't be relevant here because they're Dover Gush. So, which is pointing out that heat is similar, and even though heat is similar, nevertheless there is a leniency by Kli Sheni, which isn't by Kli Rishon. Okay, we'll stop here for today.